Did you know the porn industry was made to destroy Christians? Today I'll be explaining why something that was once forbidden in America has now become acceptable. It has everything to do with sexual immorality. The people that came up with the porn industry used a doctrine that Balaam used on the children of Israel when they were in the wilderness. Yashua spoke about this doctrine of Balaam being used on his people in the last days. Revelation chapter 2 verse 14. But I have a few things against you, because you have there those who hold the doctrine of Balaam, who taught Balak to put a stumbling block before the children of Israel, to eat things sacrificed to idols, and to commit sexual immorality. So when the children of Israel had came out of Egypt and dwelt in the wilderness, the Moabites were afraid of them, and the king at the time had seeked to put a curse upon them so that they would not be destroyed by them. In order to place this curse upon them, King Balak of the Moabites went out to get a soothsayer who was named Balaam. Balaam was into divination, and he was considered to be a prophet. Balak offered him money in exchange for cursing the children of Israel. But when it came time to do so, Balaam did not curse them, but instead blessed them. And this was done by the Most High. In Numbers chapter 23, verse 20, it says, "Behold, I have received commandment to bless, and he has blessed them, and I cannot reverse it. He has not found iniquity in Jacob, neither has he seen perverseness in Israel. Yahweh, his God, is with him." Verse 23, "Surely there is no enchantment against Jacob, neither is there any divination against Israel." So the three times that Balaam attempted to place a curse upon the children of Israel, he was prevented because the Most High had placed a blessing upon them, which could not be reversed. Now this was mainly due because the children of Israel did not sin against the Most High. But this all changed in chapter 25 when the children of Israel began to commit whoredom with the daughters of the Moabites. Numbers chapter 25, verse 2 through 3. "And they called the people unto the sacrifices of their gods, and the people did eat and bow down to their gods. And Israel joined himself unto Baal Peor, and the anger of Yahuwah was kindled against Israel." Because the children of Israel began to fornicate with the Moabites, the Most High ended up bringing a plague upon them, and 24,000 Israelites had died. So this is the origins of the doctrine of Balaam. They place a stumbling block before the children of Israel, or the followers of Yashua, to eat things sacrificed to idols and to commit sexual immorality.
The adult industry was pretty much founded by the Jews. They gravitated towards the porn industry because it's like kind of the seedier cousin of the Hollywood industry, which had already been controlled by the Jews. And basically they pretty much just took it over. The godfather of the modern day porn industry, his name was Reuben Starman, who was actually an Orthodox Jew. He owned over 200 bookstores all around the country. He's actually my godfather. What the Jews did pretty much was they revolutionized the adult industry and made it their own. So there was no space for anti-Semitism, and they basically controlled everything. Back in the 80s, the only way you could get pornography was to go through someone like Reuben Starman, and he controlled, all of his stores, and all the stores that he didn't own. They actually had to pay him a tax to carry his product. Reuben Starman eventually he died in prison. They tried to get him from obscenity back in the 80s, which was a big thing. And it actually still is. There is an obscenity arrest today.
Now I want you to remember the doctrine of Balaam. It says it was to sacrifice food to idols, as well as to commit sexual immorality. So this Jewish person, who is an executive in the porn industry, stated that his people control both Hollywood and the porn industry. Now, Hollywood is more known for its idolatry, but the porn industry is known for sexual immorality. The godfather of the porn industry was Reuben Starman. He was born in Cleveland, Ohio, and he is referred to as the Walt Disney of porn. Now, when he first got started in the 50s, porn was considered to be illegal in the United States, but Reuben Starman persisted in this illegal activity of founding porn in the United States. It is said he even used the mafia to help him out. But eventually, Reuben Starmer was imprisoned by the feds for illegal activity. But Reuben was the one that was responsible for the breakthrough that the porn industry had in America and now overseas. Here's what Mike Kulik also had to say in his interview about Jews being involved in the porn industry. Quote, so I think the Jewish performers, they've always been really prevalent in the industry. And even now, Ron Jeremy is still one of the most well-known performers. Joanna Angel, Daphne Rosen, there's a bunch of them. And for the most part, the business side is still controlled by the Jews. Steve Hirsch, who runs Vivid, Steve Ehrenstein, who runs Wicked, you have me, who runs the biggest porn company, Monarch, in the world. Second biggest, but for the most part, the business owners are pretty much Jewish or have Jewish ties, or at some point work for a Jew in the business to get their start. End of quote. So these are not my words. This is a Jewish man speaking on his Jewish culture, and he admits that his people are the ones to introduce pornography to America. Mike said that the Jewish people were not just the owners of the porn industry, but they was also the performers, Ron Jeremy being one of the most known ones. Now, recently I believe that Ron Jeremy was involved in rape charges, but I'm not sure whatever came upon that. But here's what Mike had to say about Ron Jeremy and his involvement in the porn industry. Quote, back in the 70s, the majority of the male porn performers were Jewish and the majority of the female performers were Roman Catholic. And if you look at the names of the classic porn stars, you got Ron Jeremy, which isn't really Jewish sounding, but you have Harshal Savage. It's kind of funny because those guys came into the industry and I actually asked a couple of them, because I asked Ron Jeremy, why did you guys decide to go into the porn industry? What was it that drew you in besides the obvious? He was like, I got to F Roman Catholic chicks and fulfill every fantasy of every Jewish boy has ever had. End of quote. So Ron Jeremy says that he got into the porn industry to fornicate with females who was raised as Christians. Ron Jeremy was not the only Jewish person to get involved in the porn industry to sexually defile Christian females. A man named Alvin Goldstein was an American pornographer known for helping normalize hardcore pornography in the United States. In his 2004 book, XXX Communicated, A Rebel Without a Jewel, Luke Ford wrote about a conversation with Goldstein in which Ford asked Goldstein why Jews were dramatically overrepresented in the porn industry. Goldstein answered by saying, the only reason that the Jews are in pornography is that we think that Christ sucks. Catholicism sucks. We don't believe in authoritarianism. Pornography thus becomes a way of defiling Christian culture. And as it penetrates the very heart of the American mainstream, and as is no doubt consumed by those very same WASPs, it is subversive. So Goldstein said the only reason the Jews got involved in the porn industry was to defile Christian culture. Ford also asked him, what does it mean to you to be a Jew? To which Goldstein responded by saying, it doesn't mean anything. It means that I'm called a Kike. Ford also asked, do you believe in God? Goldstein said, I believe in me. I'm God. Screw God. God is your need to believe in some super being. I am the super being. I am your God. Admit it. We're random. We're the flea on the butt of the dog. So this was Al Goldstein, who normalized hardcore porn in America. And it really just seems as if this is a part of the overall Jewish culture. This rabbi, who is known here in America, opened up a sex shop with him and his daughter.
Kosher sex is our ability to bond with another human being in pleasure, in ecstasy, in respect, in sensitivity, in a way that we feel transformed. That the morning after we feel so close to that person that sexuality becomes something sacred. Kosher sex, if I can use a pun, is not just for the circumcised. It's not just for religious people. Kosher sex is for everybody. And I'm not preaching a message to the religious people. I'm preaching a message to every man and every woman on earth.
Sex in Judaism provides the most intimate way of knowing someone. And I think especially in marriage, it's very hard to maintain lust. And so I wanted products to bring to people that don't substitute their husband or their wife. It's something that can enhance the experience.
Let's say a lesbian or a gay couple come in, is there a different message for them? Because I know some religious groups might not be so accepting.
Anyone who believes in commitment and bring love into this world and being intimate with someone and wants to learn, they're welcome here. It does say in the Torah that there are issues with homosexuality, but my dad, we were always brought up with the idea that if there's 613 mitzvot for everyone to keep, and if you can't keep one, you keep this, or two, or whatever it is, whatever number, you keep the rest and you do as much as you can. That's Judaism.
I'm kind of wondering whether it is then a bit of a way to get people drawn to Judaism.
I am a religious woman, so I keep Shabbat and I keep kosher. So for me, it's very much a part of the company, and it's based on the book, which is a lot of Jewish wisdom. Again, even if you don't keep anything, I think you can still be inspired and be touched by the message of Judaism.
And here's what I would like to say to you, Rabbi, since you're quoting scripture, okay? I think what's relevant is Revelation 3:9. Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews and are not, but do lie. And I'm speaking directly to you, Rabbi Shmuley.
Due to their unbelief in the Messiah, they want to cause all of us to fall away from the faith. They have placed a stumbling block before us, whether it's Hollywood or the porn industry. And the purpose is to get us to sin against the Most High. First book of Peter, chapter 4, verse 3. For you have spent enough time in the past doing what pagans choose to do, living in debauchery, lust, drunkenness, orgies, carousing, and detestable idolatry. Romans chapter 8, verse 6 to 8. For to be carnally minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace, because the carnal mind is enmity against the Most High. Don't let the children of the devil knock you off your path. Be aware of Satan's devices. They cannot curse who the Most High has blessed.